This is perhaps the simplest API I have ever seen. There are lots of APIs out there. Some of them are very complex. Some of them have really poor documentation. Some of them take hours and hours to figure out how the heck to use them. But the USPS API is so simple that we are actually going to build an app from scratch.
Get out of here.
We're going to start with blank and just build this app. So if you have
new,
I'm sorry,
file new, and away you go.
Yeah, exactly. So let me share my screen and we'll get to it. All right, so first of all, we'll go ahead and create a brand new database. Just call it USPS integration. Simple enough. And see, I tried this earlier. And I'm just going to put very little bit of information here, just enough so we can see what we're doing. We're going to do a company name, address 1, address 2, city, state, zip 5, zip 4, in case you've got the 4 additional characters. And that should be enough. Just click OK. And there we go, our nice simple app. So let's make these look a little bit nicer. We'll put in here, get field name self, so we can see what each one is. For these, we'll make the company name, make it bigger. Then we'll pull these down. Address 1 and 2 wider. State can be little. I'm sure most of you had done something like this before. There's our zip 5. Zip 4. Boom. So that's all we need. Now, I'm also going to show you what we do on the other end, because with most APIs, you need to register. So if you go to USPS.com, there's a tab at the top called Business. And if you go under Business, you go down to Web Tools, APIs. And right here's where you register. You just click on this, takes you here, you fill all this out, agree to the terms and conditions, yada, yada, and they will send you an email. Usually the email comes in like a minute or two. It can take up to an hour, but point is it's very simple to get in here and get started. And once you have that information, there are technical documents. See that on the right side, API technical documents. And this is all the information you need to use the various USPS APIs. So what we're going to do today is verify an address. And the reason I say this is the simplest API I have ever seen is because the code is right here. This is all you need. So what we're going to do.
Jeff, can you throw that web URL into the chat real quick, just so folks have it?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you the registration page.
Lovely, lovely.
And as I'm sharing my screen, I can't find the chat. Isn't it lovely how that works?
It's like dumpster diving for.
Yeah, it really is. Where the heck is it?
It should be on the window with everybody's picture.
Yeah, I don't have the window with everybody's picture because I've just got the little window with me because I'm sharing. Where's the dang
All right,
chat?
you know what? Carry on. I'm going to take a
Yeah.
screen and I'll put it in there. Give me 2
Yeah, if you go to USPS.com and just click on business.
I got it.
There.
I got it. Carry on.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what we're going to do is we will open up the script workspace and we're just going to create a new script. I'll just call it validate USPS. And I'm not going to put a lot of notes in here because this is just quick and easy for you guys. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set a variable. I'm going to call it URL. And then I'm going to take all this and just copy it and put a couple of quotes, paste it in here. Now there's a user ID in there. So you're going to have to put in backslashes around or before the quotes in there. But from there, the rest of it is pretty simple. You've got address 1, address 2 with these dummy data. I use a little app called Text Expander. So if I just do quote and I can put address 1 in there. There's address 2. I'll do it. There we go. City. Oops. State. Zip 5. And zip 4. Now, the last thing we need to put in there is the user ID. So what I'm actually going to do, so I'm not sharing my user ID with everybody because then you could use my account. I'm going to create a custom function here. Just call it user ID. And I'm doing this off screen. I'll put my user ID in there. And then we can access that custom function. Now, if you just want to put your user ID in here, no big deal. But for me, I'm going to grab my custom function, user ID, and there it is. There's the code. Very, very simple. So the next thing I'm going to do is use a step called insert from URL. Now, with insert from URL, you have to tell it where you want to put what you're inserting. I'm going to go ahead and put it in a global variable so we can see what comes back. And USPS, fine. We can call it whatever we want. Then specify URL. I'll put in $URL, the variable that I just set. Now, most of the time when you're working with an API, you're going to need to go into here, specify curl options, which is some significantly more difficult programming. Certainly nothing you can't pick up on your own. But with USPS, you don't even need it. So let's go back here. We've got this wonderful app that I've made. And I'm going to grab the address of a company we all know and love. That in there. Oh, made that a little too small. Let's fix that so we can see the whole state abbreviation. There we go. All right, so now we have all this data. And again, go into the URL. There's the fields. We just stuck in here. We're going to click play. And when I go into my data viewer, there's what we get back. Now this is XML. If you're not familiar with XML, it's a fairly simple language. It's just a bunch of tags like address 1 and then values. Now, honestly, I don't know why USPS puts the suite in address 1 and the street address in address 2. I would expect it to be the other way around, but that's the way they like it. So we've got our address 1, start and finish, address 2, start and finish, etc. So what are we going to do with this? This is where we do the validation, like Marshall was saying. There are a lot of different options for this. You can use a popover, you can use hidden fields. I'm going to use a card window. So I'll create a new layout. And on this new layout, I'm going to start by grabbing the address fields that I already put in there. And we'll do basically the same thing that we did before, a little smaller. And actually, I'll just do this line. You can make it look nicer when you're doing it yourself. But what I'm also going to do is create some text here. And actually, we could make some text, tell you what, let's just do that even simpler. Let's just make a couple of buttons. There's one big button, make a button bar. I just keep changing my ideas. Let's do a button bar here. So in the first button in the button bar rather, we're going to put all these fields. We'll put the list function, do company name, address 1, address 2, and we'll do city. Obviously, these are going to be on the same line, so if not is empty, city, and not is empty, state, and we'll put a comma between them. And there's a whole bunch of ways to do that. That's just quick and dirty. And then finally, we'll do state and space and zip. Got the trim there to take out that space if one or the other is missing. And actually what we'll do here is the same thing we did up here. We'll do if not is empty, zip 5, and if not is empty, zip 4, hyphen, and zip 4. So big old list there. Oops, forgot an and. Something's missing. Isn't that always the way? You're always missing something. Let's see, there's the if, the end if. Trim. Got it. I didn't close the trim. This is a good thing to do. Use the double slash and end trim to put comments in so you know where each of your commands end. Now I'm going to go to 2. I'll just paste this whole thing in here. But now we're going to leave the company name the same, but change it to our variables. Okay. So we'll get rid of these. Get rid of the top navigation. Got our two buttons here. There's something down there we need to get rid of. Move this up, move this over. Perfect size for a card window. And now what we'll do is once we get it from the URL, we're going to populate those global variables. Now, like I said, XML is a pretty simple language, but personally, I find it easier to use a custom function to get things out of there. There are plenty of custom functions like this online. I have my own in my library of functions. I'm going to do XML get element. It's just like JSON get element if you've used that. But basically it just goes through the XML and it finds the tag you're looking for and gives you what's between the open and closed tags. So we're going to do address 1. Just make sure, because we've got it here, it is indeed address 1. So we're going to do XML get element. The XML we're looking at is USPS, the variable we just created. The tag we're looking for is address 1, and we'll do the first occurrence. And I'll just duplicate this a few times. Oops. Address 2. City. State. Let's see how they word it here. Zip 5. Okay. And zip 4. That will populate all of those. So now, when we go back here, you see the company name that you've entered, but now we're going to populate those variables. And when we go back, oh, forgot the comma in there. Let's see, what did I do wrong? Ah, there's an extra colon. There we go. So now we have the two buttons. So let's go ahead and make this just a little bigger. We'll go ahead and give the user some instructions. Move this down a bit. USPS has standardized this address. Which would you like to use? And then these buttons will each go to a script. First script is going to do very little. Just close the card window because we've already got that address there. So we don't need to do anything else. But second would be apply standardized address. With this, we'll go ahead and set the fields. Address 1, address 1. Address 2, address 2. City, city. You get it. And of course, we also need to close the window in this. This button performs the close card window script. This button performs the apply standardized address script. There we go. So we go back to the integration, and now here's where the magic happens. We're going to add an open card window script, which again is very simple. We're just going to do new window using layout card. And we'll make that a card window. That's all it takes. And we're going to make this a trigger. In fact, let's do one more thing to make sure this doesn't come up when we don't want it to. We're going to put an if in here. We're going to make sure that everything we need is filled in. So we'll say not is empty, address 1, and we don't care about address 2 because not everybody has an address 2. But we'll do city. And state. And zip 5. That's going to be our bare minimum. So if all of those are filled in, we get a new window. And then we will go to all of these and command, double click, and we're going to do on object validate. Open card window. So now we have this. Let's see what happens when I put in the same address, but we'll just put it in there. Boom. If I click on this one, it closes. Nothing changed. But if I click on this one, it sets it to what USPS sent me back. And that's it. 20 minutes. We just built this USPS integration. So, Marshall.
Yeah, I'm just like you, buddy. I'm struggling to find the mute button here. That's pretty cool. Is that something that could just be? I guess we probably want to post this as a demo file too, huh?
Sure.
I mean, it would be pretty darn easy to throw it into an existing FileMaker file.
Absolutely.
Just a matter of copying some stuff. Well, I was joking around with you earlier in the month about the high wire act of developing on the fly, and joking around that you should have the cooking show pie in the oven ready to pull out, but you didn't need it. So that's awesome.
No, you don't. It's just really that simple.
Yeah. Can you think of any other tips or tricks that the people or cautionary tales along the way, or is this just so simple that?
Yeah, I mean, this one's just really easy. Like I said, there are a lot of APIs out there that are very difficult, but this just isn't one of them.
So it looks like they've got on their website, it looks like they've got address validation, but it also looks like they've got some other things like zip code lookup and then city state lookup. So what do you think those are? Is it I put in an address and it tells me what the zip is in the middle one.
Yep.
And then perhaps I put the zip in and it tells me what the city state is in the last one.
But honestly, if you do that here, like, I don't know, we'll just put in something random here.
Right.
This is the town that my parents live in. Oh, I didn't give it a zip. We need to tell it that it doesn't have to have a zip. It's just... You know what we need? We need it to be city and state, or that's the big one. It needs to have a city and state or a zip. So now we've made this one thing, this another, and we close the parenthesis.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah. Oh, validate USPS.
I want, well,
Object validate open card window. That would be the problem.
see how I did that?
Yep.
See how I just looked at it and broke it?
Yeah, you did. That's all
Uh,
right. What we'll do is
My
the
super,
validate USPS needs to open the window with the validation. It's not a separate script. And then we'll go back in here and set it to validate instead. There we go. So let's put in something else here, do a new one. Same town. Oops, didn't spell that right. Oh, look at that. It's still new.
even though it was spelled wrong a bit. Oh, that's pretty cool.
And there you go. I mean, it pulled up
Wow,
the zip code.
Yeah. But you
and-
know, the next step I think would be, and I'm not going to ask you to do it here because you know it's a pretty trivial thing, but you know, cleaning up the format and everything so it doesn't have caps everywhere. And
Sure.
but yeah, well that is definitely cool. Probably should be in every. It should probably be in every system that goes out.
It's not recognizing that.
You should have stopped.
It's not there anymore. It's a place that was there when I was a kid. Yeah. Oh well.
Now you got to do Google Maps underneath.
There we
this.
go.
there.
Found something. Yeah, I mean, obviously clean it up, and
Yeah,
you want to set this to, like, you can make the street address calculate to proper self and do replace. Do the same thing for city. That will do the same thing. Everything's there, so it doesn't need to do any more than that. There you go. I didn't put it on address 2. Wonder why it's messing up address 1 and address 2. I guess.
well, you just got to work backwards, right?
Yeah,
Or-
exactly.
It's feeding you.
For some reason, it's putting address 2 and address 1 and vice versa. So just change those. Back. There we go.
Yeah, it's nice. Isn't that funny? I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a proper command.
Yeah.
Can you then define that as like the Queen's English or?
Nope. It just capitalizes everything in it.
Well, let me open up the mic. Does anybody have any questions about this? I mean, we got plenty of time here. Nothing. Pretty straightforward. Mike, do you want to announce the gig that you got tonight?
Sure. Yeah, let me talk about that and I'll post a link in. So CoffMug are the Central Ohio FileMaker Developers Group is having a meeting this evening. It starts at 6 p.m., but really the presentation starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I just posted the Zoom link in the chat window since you're all here. And basically tonight we have a special event that is called the Claris Corner. So we have an employee from Claris itself, Giuliano Iacobelli, who was the original founder of Stamplay, which is now Claris Connect. So he actually moved over to the States from Italy when his company was acquired by Apple and kind of handed off to Claris. So he's got something to present to us. I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but he's going to make a presentation for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to chat and provide feedback as a group to him. So if you ever wanted to give some direct feedback on anything to Claris, this would be a great opportunity for that. So yeah, if you want to join us around 6:30 p.m. this evening, the Zoom invite is there in the chat.
Perfect. Hey, Thaleen, sorry about that. I didn't see you're zooming in. We will have this recorded, so maybe you could download the recording and we typically throw it up on YouTube. Sorry about that. I just saw it. And then Jeff, Tom Bedard.
I can see the chat now.
Oh, okay, great. What are you using to colorize the script steps?
I actually use the Monkey Bread MBS plugin. It's really nice. It allows you to customize it however you like. You can set any color for any type of thing, any type of variable. Different variables can be different colors, etc. Yeah, Mike just put the link in the
I
chat.
put the link in, but also you can install it without paying for a license and get a lot of the developer features for free.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's pretty large plugin, but it does a lot of stuff. We use it for a few clients for really some advanced integration stuff with your local machine. So you can review it on their website what that plugin does, but the developer tools are something they've focused on more recently, and it's become pretty valuable for us. It also has puts a really nifty search box up at the top of your script window, so you can search for variables. And I don't know if you have the version, Jeff, that auto completes variables for you now too.
No, actually, I have not done that.
So yeah, so there is now a that was one of their more recent updates. But as you type ahead with a variable name, yeah, it gives you a list of your variables that are in the script, and every time you save the script, it reloads those. So
yep.
So if you haven't updated your copy of Monkey Bread, he releases updates like once every 2 weeks. So you gotta keep downloading it and installing it. It doesn't have, unfortunately, there's no like auto update for plugins right now, but so you have to remember to go grab those. But set yourself a calendar reminder and go grab it. But definitely worth the price of free.
Yeah, definitely. The search alone is amazing. Another thing that I really like about it, it flags variables that have not been defined. So if you're calling a variable and you forgot to set it earlier in the script, it'll show up in red. It really changes the way you work. It also adds a find to the defined database dialog. So you can search the relationship graph. It's just a wonderful plugin, as Mike said, for free. There's no reason not to get it.
Awesome. Okay, you got that question handled, Mike. All right, so they don't all have to be an hour. We're gonna get 20 minutes of our lives back. So thank you everybody for coming on. If you've got any ideas whatsoever for an office hours, anything you'd like us to cover, just send it to answers@gomainspring.com and we'll scoop it up and run with it. That is one of the challenges of a user group like this, trying to come up with what we think, is relevant to folks. So Thaleen, did you have a question?
No, it was great. You've got me thinking about this plugin thing, which I don't really use that often, if ever, because I'm not a developer. But, maybe a session on favorite ones might be good.
Oh, okay.
Cool idea.
Yeah, I'll volunteer for favorite plugins for next month. We can do that.
That's what we're doing then.
Awesome.
That's what we're doing. Favorite
And there
plug-
you go.
Thaleen, we're
My non-developer contribution. There you go.
gonna send you a free copy of Monkey Bread. We're gonna send you a free copy of Monkey Bread.
Well, actually, I'm always looking around at what other people develop, so and trying to unpack it. So it might actually serve me well.
Well, I got to tell you, I watch these guys do this stuff now, and I pretty much stopped developing around FileMaker 6 and 7. And I talk to people all the time that they're like, "Oh yeah, FileMaker, I remember that, 1992." And what you can do with this thing now compared to what it was, it's just unbelievable. How much of a programmer, well, I guess you could go two ways. You could either go way down the rabbit hole and being a hardcore developer, but yet you still have the ability to, be a hack like myself. I use FileMaker for a couple of things around the house here, and it's always like that. That might be a very entertaining session of watching me ask the guys the stupid questions that I have regarding my little internal software. But yeah, so FileMaker's it's rocking. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts there, especially with the APIs. I can't get over how much external connectivity there is out there now. So it's all good stuff. So next session is favorite plugins, presented by our own Mike Burgee. And we will see you then. It'll be the third Thursday of May, which means that is May 19th. So May 19th, 1 p. We'll see you right here. So you guys have a great day, better week, better weekend, and we'll see you in May. Take care.